Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Rainmaking Time. This is Kim Greenhouse. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the Birdman. He has a world-renowned reputation for caring and preserving birds, for doing live bird shows that are mobile to zoos and parks and all kinds of environments. He breeds condors for release into the wild. He's very well known also in the movie and television industry. He trains people how to receive and take care of these birds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Birdman of Las Vegas, Joe Krathwohl, to It's Rainmaking Time. Good day.
Hi. Thanks for that great intro. I want to meet that guy.
Yeah. I think we have him right here. When I first heard about what you're doing, I was very, very excited. And to hear that you're breeding condors for release into the wild and training people and doing these live bird shows. Talk a little bit about your show, what you're doing now, and then we'll get into more as we go on.
Well, the shows are it's kind of a stage show, but not a traditional stage. The zoos and parks and aquariums that will contract me, the stage may be everything from a grassy area outside to an amphitheater to an indoor small theater, whatever they have to work with. And we sit down and we come up with what kind of program they want and what kind of birds they want in it. And then I have two choices. Either I'm going to bring them the program and perform it with myself or my staff, or we're going to build the program on their premises. And if that's the case, then I acquire new birds just for them. I start training their staff so that they're going to be able to do the show. And then after a period of time, usually 6 months, almost a year, then I bring the birds, finish training the staff on site, get the whole program up and running, and then leave it to operate in my absence. And that has worked out really well because obviously I can only be so many places at once, and it allows us to have a half dozen programs going on right now simultaneously, all as we speak.
You have been in radio and television and been interviewed and also trained people in the motion picture and television industry. What exactly are you training them to do?
To get the birds to perform certain behaviors on cue in crazy, if not very difficult environments. Whenever we go on the set of a movie, it's never the environment that they promise it will be. The conversation always starts off, oh yeah, it's no problem, we just need the bird to do this, this, and this, and you'll be in and out within 30 minutes. Usually that means, okay, great, we're sitting in a trailer back, outside the studio. They're not going to get to us on Monday, they're not going to get to us on Tuesday, and we might shoot the scene sometime Wednesday afternoon. Well, the bird not only has to, continue to eat during that time and get his normal care, but we don't want to just feed him in a cage in a trailer because he needs to know that the most important behavior in the world for these couple of days is the behavior that's in the script of the movie or the commercial or the TV show. And so we have to find a way to shoot the scene ourselves, even though there's no cameras.
Oh, you actually have to shoot it?
Well, we perform the scene, I should say.
Okay.
And then when Wednesday rolls around, then maybe it does only take 30 minutes. But in reality, it's taken more than half a week to get to that 30 minutes. And so having people that are able to go in there and be able to constantly adjust, constantly work with not just the production company, but also the birds, and completely redesign their program, on an hour-by-hour basis, that takes a lot of skill.
Does this confuse animals when they're in a production mode or set off their typical daily schedule, or is there a daily schedule?
There is a daily schedule, and it's up to us to absorb all of the shock and impact between the human's demands and what the bird understands. A lot of times I call myself the translator. People will say, well, we want a pelican for a commercial that will fly out, land on a piling, and just sit there for a minute. and there's going to be like a logo and some graphics, next to them. Great. What I have to now translate to the pelican is when I point from a distance, you fly to that piling and wait and wait and wait and wait, and the reward is coming. That's it. That's the only message he gets. So no matter how many times the people then rearrange it and say, well, now we want it to be a blue piling. Well, now we want to have the wind blowing. Well, now we want to have it raining. Well, now we want to have all, they keep changing everything, but meanwhile I have to make sure that the only thing that pelican hears is I fly to that piling and I wait and the fish is coming to me. And so, it's my job to absorb all the stress from what they're throwing at us so that it's nice, easy, simple, and repeatable to the poor little bird who can only understand what I'm saying by consistent, repeated actions and what I call a contract. And I'll establish a contract with that bird. I'll walk out and I'll set him on the piling and I'll hand him a fish. And then I'll come back and I'll set him next to the piling, jump him to the piling, give him a fish. Then I'll back him up, he flies to the piling, and I'll give him a fish. Then we'll repeat it, and I'll delay it 5 seconds, give him a fish. Then delay it a minute, give him a fish. Then delay it 3 minutes, give him a fish. But we have now built up a contract that he knows that every time he lands in the piling, the fish is going to come. And I can't break that contract. I can delay it and I can manipulate it to give the humans all what they want, but I cannot break that contract to the pelican. He will lose trust and he'll lose faith, and then that'll be it. He'll blow off that routine.
Joe, are you the bird whisperer?
I don't think so. I talk pretty loud.
Are you the bird loud whisperer?
a lot of people have marketed it, different forms of the horse whisperer, and there was a guy that called himself the bird whisperer, and I don't know, it just that's not a term that really appeals to me. I know that a lot of people use that term as somebody who has some sort of ability to communicate and connect, and maybe an empathetic kind of a exchange with them, but I don't have that. It's really simple to me. I mean, I'm just taking a bird and explaining to him what I want him to do, and then paying him very heavily so that he will want to do that over and over and over again, no matter how hard or how crazy the circumstances get. And so I don't think it really requires anything that's special or abnormal or paranormal or anything like that. I really think that I'm just figured out how to speak in painfully simple terms that birds can understand. And I speak with repetitive, consistent, reliable actions, and they read those actions, and that's how they get the communication from me. And of course, I'm watching their response. Does it work? Do they do the behavior again? Do they fly off and land in the tree, and it takes me 3 hours to get them down? Then that's the communication back to me as to whether or not I'm doing a good job or whether or not we're not on the same page.
You're doing a lot of work with the condors. I would really like you to talk about your work with the condors and how you got into it.
Well, I actually got into condors by accident. I had always been a fan of condors. In fact, the logo for my company was a drawing I made from a California condor educational sign at the Los Angeles Zoo that I had seen when I was 19 years old. And I took this picture of this sign, and I held onto this picture, and it wasn't that I thought I was going to get condors one day. I didn't even think you could own them. I mean, they were as unobtainable as I don't know, the Loch Ness